I was preparing soup when my Dawn suddenly struck me on the head with a ladle. "Who cooks like that, you incompetent fool?" she shouted as the hot metal burned against my temple, sending waves of pain through me. My son Robert, who was lounging in the living room, merely increased the volume on the television, acting as though he hadn't heard anything, as if my distress meant nothing to him. Just 5 minutes later, a tremendous crash echoed from the kitchen pots clattering, dishes breaking, and my body collapsing to the floor amid the chaos. Robert hurried over and paused in the doorway, his face frozen in shock. "Mom, what have you done?" he whispered, gazing at me lying there in the ruins of my shattered dignity. Yet, in that instant, neither of them realized I held one final hidden advantage. A secret that would alter the course of everything. My name is Helen, and at 71 years old, my hands are roughened from decades of kneading bread for others, while my heart had clung naively to the idea of unbreakable family loyalty until recently. How foolish I had been, how completely unaware. 6 months prior, I had buried my husband, Henry, after 50 years of marriage that vanished, in a single April afternoon when his heart failed him as he watered the geraniums in our backyard. I found him kneeling there, the hose still dripping onto his worn brown shoes. From that day forward, my world dissolved into quiet emptiness and fading photographs. Left alone in a house far too large, I was enveloped by memories that stung with every touch. Robert, my only son, had insisted I move in with him and his wife. "You can't stay by yourself, Mom, it's too dangerous at your age," he had said over the phone, his voice laced with apparent concern. I chose to trust him, needing that belief desperately. So I packed my entire life into 4 suitcases and abandoned the home where I had raised him, where Henry and I had danced in the kitchen on Sunday mornings, where every corner preserved fragments of our shared existence. Robert's home was sleek and modern, with shining floors and furniture that seemed lifted straight from a glossy catalog. Dawn greeted me with a smile that never reached her eyes. "Welcome, Helen," she said, pointedly avoiding terms like mother-in-law or mom, treating me like a mere acquaintance. From that very first day, I knew I had erred in coming, but retreating was no longer possible. I claimed the guest room at the end of the hall, a cramped space with a window overlooking a dim alley where I displayed Henry's photos on the walls, organized my plain gray dresses in the closet, and strove to become invisible. That became my existence, present but unobtrusive. Mornings started early for me. I'd rise at 6 to brew coffee and prepare breakfast: scrambled eggs, toast, and fresh squeezed orange juice. Robert would descend first, always rushed and fixated on his phone, muttering thanks, Mom, without glancing up. Dawn appeared later, swathed in her green silk robe, her hair impeccably styled even at that hour, and she'd examine my efforts with a judgmental eye. "The coffee's too thin," she'd complain. "Or these eggs are oversalted." No thanks ever came, no recognition of my work. I'd simply nod, offer a smile, and vow to improve the next day, driven by a desire to feel useful, needed, and assured of my place in my son's life. Days melted into weeks as I cleaned, cooked, and laundered, gliding through the house like a phantom, erasing crumbs, folding linens, and tidying overlooked spots. Dawn worked from home, perpetually on crucial calls and under stress, and whenever her day soured, I became the convenient scapegoat. "Why did you leave this here?" she'd snap, gesturing at a forgotten cup on the side table. "You can't get anything right. Robert was often there for these episodes but remained silent, averting his gaze as if it weren't his issue, as if I weren't his mother. Nights kept me awake, the clocks ticking, amplifying my doubts. What had I done to deserve this? Where had I gone wrong as a parent? Why did my son tolerate such mistreatment toward me? Tears would fall quietly onto my pillow, dried away before dawn to hide any vulnerability, for I couldn't risk giving them grounds to cast me out. But that afternoon, as I readied the vegetable soup Robert had adored as a child, something within me fractured. Focused on chopping carrots to perfection, Dawn burst into the kitchen like a storm. "What are you doing?" she demanded in her familiar sharp tone. "Soup for dinner," I replied softly, without turning. "It's Robert's favorite." She leaned in, inspected the pot, and her expression twisted in revulsion. "This looks like slop for pigs. How much salt did you add? Are you poisoning us?" Her words cut deep, and though I tried to explain, she ignored me, seizing the ladle from the pot and slamming it against my head before I could react. The impact dazed me, the heat of the metal and spilling liquid scorching my scalp, pain throbbing at my temple. "Who cooks like that? You incompetent!" she screamed, her voice resounding through the house. I staggered, gripping the stove's edge. While from the living room, the television's sound grew loud, Herbert was there, fully aware, yet choosing to drown it out. In that moment, an inner spark extinguished. The physical hurt was trivial compared to the betrayal of his silence. My son, whom I had carried and nurtured with boundless love, preferred a TV program over intervening in my pain. I stood there, supported by the stove, the ladle still dripping at my feet, as Dawn glared with contempt, awaiting my apology, my submission for merely existing. But my mind fixated on Robert, on that deliberate volume increase, on his conscious choice to ignore it all. "You're pathetic," she spat, arms crossed. "Look at this mess, you can't even make simple soup. I don't know why Robert brought you here. You're a burden, useless, just occupying space." Each phrase struck like a slap, and though I longed to respond, my voice lodged in my throat. I attempted to clean the spill, but my hands shook, my head pounding from the blow. Dawn stormed out, leaving me alone in the steaming quiet. It took only 5 minutes for a decision to form. Surveying the pots on the stove, the stacked dishes, the kitchen I had scrubbed daily for months in a bid to belong in this foreign home, an explosion erupted inside me, not planned or strategic, but pure instinct for survival. I grabbed the largest pot, the one with the criticized soup, and poured it down the sink, the liquid rushing with fierce noise. Then another pot, and another, letting them crash to the floor or against the counter. Plates slipped from my grasp, cups shattered, utensils scattered in chaotic freedom. The clamor was liberating and vital. Robert's footsteps approached rapidly. "What was that?" he called from the hall. He halted in the kitchen, paling at the sight of me amid the overturned pots, spilled soup, and broken shards, blood trickling from my temple. "Mom, what did you do?" he whispered, but he didn't approach or touch me, just stared as if I were solely at fault. Dawn emerged behind him, her horror swiftly turning to rage. "She's insane, your mother is completely mad," she shrieked, pointing at me like a threat. "Look at my kitchen, destroyed. Call someone. Robert, this woman needs to be committed." I gazed at Robert, hoping for defense or even a question about my reasons, but he shook his head in disappointment and shame. "Mom, why? Why do this? Why?" I echoed, my voice hoarse and fractured. Your wife hit me with a boiling ladle. Robert, she struck me. And you turned up the TV. The words sliced through the air. He blinked, perhaps feigning confusion. I didn't hear, Mom, I swear. I didn't know, liar. I said, the word toxic between us. You were right there. You heard it all and chose nothing. Dawn inserted herself, face flushed with anger. I won't tolerate this, not living with this ungrateful old woman who destroys everything. Choose, Robert, her or me. The silence that ensued was more agonizing than any yell. I pleaded with my eyes for him to choose me, to recall the mother who had nursed his fevers, worked double jobs for his education. But he stared at the floor, hands pocketed, defeated. I'm sorry, Mom, he muttered, but I think you should find somewhere else. This isn't working. You're causing issues. You need to leave. The world halted, my heart with it. You're evicting me, I asked, knowing the answer. Tears burning. Your wife assaults me. And you evict me. It's not like that, Dawn, and I need space. You need independence. Better for everyone. His words were scripted, hollow. My son was absent. Only a stranger remained. When I pressed, tears threatening. Tomorrow morning I'll call a taxi. Hotel for now, then something permanent. I'll help with costs. Dismissing me like an employee, avoiding my gaze. That night, sleep evaded me as I sat on the bed's edge, studying Henry's photos, wondering his thoughts on this. I packed slowly, folding items meticulously, as if order could contain the inner storm. At dawn, the taxi honked. Robert waited with $200. For settling in, he said, eyes down. No hug, no goodbye, took the money, grabbed my cases, and left without looking back. The driver asked for a destination. I had none. Any cheap motel, I said. He delivered me to a rundown spot on LA's edge. Neon flickering, carpets damp with mold. $30 a night with $200, less than a week. The room was tiny. Walls stained beige, bed creaking. Window to a noisy lot, neon casting a sickly red glow. I sat and wept unrestrained. Deep sobs from buried pain, years of swallowed humility. I cried for Henry, lost in an unrecognizable world. For Robert, once my hugging hero. For myself, the woman I no longer knew. Tears exhausted, emptiness lingered. In the bathroom's harsh light, I faced a 71-year-old stranger, wrinkled, puffy-eyed, gray-haired, bruise purpling my temple. Touching it, the physical ache relieved the deeper, nameless hurt. Days blurred as I isolated, TV droning unseen. Eating minimally from the hallway, vending machine chips, coffee, bars. When it swallowed my last $2 without return, I stared, seeing my life's peril. Messages to Robert went unanswered, dignified pleas. Direct needs, then desperation. All met with silence like echoes in a void. A week on, funds gone. The clerk knocked, pay or vacate. Professional indifference. I begged for a day. He refused. Rules, ma'am. Suitcases heavy as corpses. I dragged them through scorching sun, directionless. Walking hours with blistered feet and hands. Persisting because halting admitted defeat. I ended in a downtown LA park, benches, shaded, pigeons foraging, children playing. On a isolated bench, I watched life ignore me. A mother hastened her curious daughter away, as if poverty spread. That was my first street night, no, true sleep. Seated clutching my purse, jolting at noises. Other homeless huddled under cardboard. One offered stale bread. Eat. Grandma streets are tough. Trembling, I accepted and thanked. He departed with clanking cans. Days became survival. Dumpster dives behind restaurants. Initial shame yielding to hunger, stale bread. Bruised fruit, scraps eaten in hidden alleys. Tuesdays and Thursdays, church soup lines with broken-faced crowds. A volunteer's compassionate smile and God bless shrank me further. Nodding wordlessly. Nights were worse, cold, fearful, endless on the bench with cases as barriers. Sweater, blanket, amid sirens, shouts, city's hum. I pictured Robert warm in bed while I shivered under stars. Wondering if he thought of me, cared, knew his mother slept rough. One morning, a cop's flashlight woke me, can't stay move, explaining homelessness. He sighed. Shelter 6 blocks. Full tomorrow early. Always delay. Weak stew 3. Fused in exhaustion, hopelessness. Dirty clothes, greasy hair. Grimy skin rendering me invisible, a shadow statistic. Yet amid suffering, forgotten memories resurfaced, pre-Henry literature aspirations. School poetry win, dreams before wife-mother roles. Afternoon suitcase search yielded an unrecognized envelope. Henry's handwriting. Heart racing, eye opened. Letter, documents. Dearest Helen, from his pneumonia scare 2 years back, facing mortality. If reading, I'm gone. Forgive secrecy on finances meant protection. Now mistake. Tears as Henry's voice echoed. 30 years investing small to large. Undervalued properties now valuable. Every cent saved for our future, your security. Kept quiet to avoid worry. Surprise in old age. Breath quickened unfolding deeds. Titles, certificates 13 properties. Buildings, apartments, commercials. One familiar, Magnolia. Robert and Don's building, mine all along. Stomach twisted in disbelief, pain, darkening resolve. Henry's letter urged, contact lawyer Roger Mendez. Originals with him. Never diminish your strong. Defend, loved you daily, Henry. On the bench, suitcases surrounding. I held proof I wasn't destitute but millionaire owner. While street sleeping, garbage. Ironies, brutality sparked mad laughter through tears. Passersby shunned the crazed old woman. But I knew truths, they didn't. Payphone found, I dialed Mendez trembling. Mendez and Associates. Roger, Mendez re Henry Salazar. Angors, voice, pause. Who? Helen Salazar, widow, longer pause. We've searched months where. Mendez urgent. Park address. Car in 30. Black sedan arrived. Driver neutral. Loading cases. Ushering me into leather-scented luxuries. Felt out of place but uncaring. Firm and glass tower. 15th floor. Receptionist eyed but directed. Mendez, 50s groomed gray glasses rose, masking surprise. Sit water, coffee. Water, gulped thirstily. Located since Henry's passing messages. Letters to old home. Son said moved. No address. Son, evicted me 3 weeks ago. Street living frown. Sorry. But finances solid. Henry foresighted. Reviewed docs. Wrinkled envelope. Yesterday confusing. Duplicates originals here. 13 properties tilde. $8M. Investments $2 million. Accounts. $500K liquid. Numbers unreal $10 million while dumps impossible. Real Magnolia 452 and Son Robert. Dawn in 301 reduced dollar. $400 month versus $2,500. Market Henry's favor. $400. Luxury via dad. yet street abandoned. Details blurred as mind schemed. Cancel contract. Owner's right, but procedures no instant. Eviction, not yet traced to $2.500. Sure. 30-day notice. Yes. Noted. Housing. Unoccupied properties or temp, view all tomorrow hotel. Tonight, 5-star suite arranged. My funds. Card, $50,000 access. Henry's message for hardship. New, stronger than thought. Envelope opened if hurt, seeking help. No pride. Built for you defense. Don't shrink, even blood. Giant, prove it. Tears. Mendez averted. Henry foresaw shield provided. Hotel, plush, lavender sheets. Marble tub surreal from bench to $300 night. Bathed deeply, grime dissolving, scrubbed raw hair, robed softly, nearly wept. Room service, feast savor, dignity, power reclaimed, slept 12 hours undisturbed. Awoke to sun, reality returning, wealth, new life. Days touring properties, apartments, commercials. Mall Henry's patient work explained. Contracts, maintenance, income. Net $45,000 month. Dollar for OOK year after costs. $400,000. While church begging irony brutal. But plan formed. Discreet changes. Magnolia. Son's rent up. Normalize all no favors. More. New clothes. Appearance. LLC Mendoza Enterprises. Me hidden. Weeks transformed. Salons dyed to brown. Boutiques, elegant suits, glasses, modern. Makeup subtle unearthing buried Helen. Roger taught finances. Mind sharp. Talent instinctual. Always potential. Untapped. Henry protected, but power from tools. Notices sent. Increases legal. Significant. Reactions. Fury. Please. 301 called 7 Robert claims. Mistake. No expired with Henry. Pay or vacate. Owner meet. Unavailable. Updates. Loan seeking. Overspending debts. Good. Consequences watched. Not Dundon's client in my plaza. Rent hiked $2,200 to $3,500. Stayed. Cut costs, including Dawn's side effect. Counseled her. Satisfaction, inward justice, balancing. Weeks hotel living, studying management, finance books, networking. Call, Robert, 2 months. Behind eviction possible OA. $6200. Proceed. Sleepless emotions. Mirror, resolute, Helen O. Beggar. Eviction delivered 30 days, pay or leave. Daily calls, demands, plans. Policies, equal no exceptions. Private investigator. Sad report, decent salary. Dawn's triple spending. Debts, arguments, cycle. Motherly urge to help, but no rock bottom needed. He'd let me hit a kitchen floor, street with $200. No follow-up. Truth, stopped caring, saw burden. Day 28, paid via 32% loan time, bought not solved. Next, due missed. Evict immediately. Yoga for silence. Journaling reflections. Terrace elder, late transformation learns self. Permission hardest, worth it, resonant allow boundary Helen. Eviction relentless. Delays failed docs perfect. Hearing Thursday formality, rule favor, 10 days vacate. Attended observer, suit, bun, makeup. Court, anxious waits. Robert gaunt, Dawn pristine, furious, lawyer shabby, Roger poised. Arguments weak versus solid evidence. Judge, 2 months. Yes, Sudden notice met. Funds? No. Favor plaintiff 10 days. Don erupted. Out. Robert trailed defeated. Coffee? Planned. Strange? Closed. Fair consequences. Folder? Tenant? Letter marked. Single mom nurse. Punctual. Stagger? Increase. Approved 6 months. Below, if on time. Generous. Discernment. Line drawn tough on abusers, not sufferers. Tense days. Appeals delayed week. Rejected. Ads selling valuables. Investigator. Packing. Intensified fights. Dawn fled. Robert alone. Crying, packing. Hurt, but no intervention needed. Break. 2 days left. Robert begged owner meet. Agreed as Mendoza rep. Office alone. Sleepless rehearsal. Firm. 3 p.m. behind desk. Poised. Robert entered. Shocked. Mom, sip what? Dressed were. Lies no contact. Dawn said space. Dawn decides. Complicated stressed. Easier forget. Silence. Why here? I'm Mendoza mine Ashen. No why hide. Respect not wealth dependent mother enough. Broke down. Coward let Dawn. Sacrificed you. Sorry because money. Don't know worst. Marriage crumbling. Dawn left. Job lost $40,000. Debts. Homeless. Karma. Revenge. No understand. Discard. Rebuild from bottom. Achieved worst. TV volumes. Subs. Subs fail dad. Ashamed. Love means consequences. Forgive. Process change first. How shall become better? End. Evict stand store. Call someday. Try actions. Gone. No explosion truths. Wait. Vacated clean early. Taxi defeat. Nowhere known held back. Dawn gone. Blaming online. Renovated 301 leased $3,000. New home. House garden decorated. Personally. Plants. Painting classes. Volunteered shelter empathy. Recognized breadman. Found myself. Months Robert silent relief. Wound. Call. Tryon studio warehouse. Therapy. Debts glad. Coffee someday. Maybe. Ready. Love you. No. Hung. Tea sunwarmed peace. Strength. Voice. Journal. Forgive self delays. Self-love. Survival. Dignity. Foundation. Wind. Bird eye. Helen. 71. Owner. Survivor. Reborn whole. Free. Mine.